Alright guys, in this section I'm going to talk about the background property here. So this background tab, this is going to control the overall background of the website. This will only show, as I've said before, on screens that are reasonably large. So say, for example, if I just minimize this thing, say if my screen was a smaller screen and it was only about as wide as that, right? You wouldn't really see much of the background because it's only a tiny little bit around the edges. Still important because you want to control what that color is. But if you've got a much bigger screen like mine, then you'll see this. So you have to determine what color you want for this. I mean, the gray on white looks okay, but depending on what kind of effect you're going for will depend on what you want your background to be. So on the background tab, or you can just click on background. If you click here, the thing changes. You click on background, it selects background. You can go for the old suggest option, which generates it for you. You can go for a particular solid color if you want. I could go for any number of different colors. Again, you can wave over to preview stuff. I don't like that. I mean, it's too similar. Again, the gray was good because it was a color that was only used in one place. I mean, it's used for the font, but it's a good contrast. The site kind of pops out when you're using that color. Another option for this kind of style site would be a really dark color, like black, I suppose. Where's the black there? I could use black because then that really makes the site stand out. So I can keep that if I want to. You can also do gradients, which is a gradual color. So at the moment there's no gradient, and if you turn one of them on, it will show you a slow, one color to another type of thing. It's not that easy to see with black, but you see it's very dark at the top, and then it gets lighter as it goes down. Right? It's a nice little effect sometimes. And there's also different types of gradient. You've got dark to light. You can have it the other way up. So if you select light to dark, it goes light and then dark the other way around. And also you can vary the severity of it. So I had it dark to light to begin with, so it's gradual. Or I could have it very stark, so it goes dark to light much quicker. You can also combine these options. So let me just turn the gradient off for a second here. And let me just go back to my grey background. So you can also have these background images. So at the moment we've got no image. So if we drop this down, these are all the built-in, this is calling it textures, the built-in background images. At the moment we've got no texture selected, and Artiseer has got a whole bunch of nice background images built into it if they're appropriate to your particular website. All you have to do is select one and it will show you what it looks like that, depending on your theme. This is very much dependent on what your business is. I don't tend to use background images myself because I feel like it sometimes takes away or distracts people from what they're supposed to be looking at, which is the main sales message on the page. So I don't know what that quite is about, but there's loads and loads of these in here. Look, there's tons and tons of them, and there's even these patterns and stuff. The patterns are better because they're not so distracting because they're not actual pictures. See, my computer's going slow here, just not quite loading my textures properly. There we go, does it eventually. As ever with Artiseer, if you don't manage to find what you're looking for in this massive list, then you can, of course, select from file. So you can give it your own image, one that perhaps you've bought from iStock, and you can have that as your background image if you wish. In addition to that, there's this lighting effects feature where you can have like subtle or lighting effects that happen. So again, to preview one, you just click on one of them and it will actually preview it for you. This kind of looks like a sunburst type thing. I mean, some of them you won't even notice. I mean, that one kind of depends on you having a gap above your site. You see that little sunburst thing. Perhaps if we went with something that we can see, that perhaps something in the top left hand corner. Let's see if we can get these to work. There you go. This is just a subtle, it'll work with whatever colour you've got going on, to be honest. So let's put this back on no texture and see what that looks like. You see, with no texture, it's very subtle, and you can play around with that. It's just another feature there. I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time messing around with your backgrounds because you want to spend most of your time making the site good, let alone the background. One thing I would say is that you definitely do want a background color to be different to your sheet color. So by sheet color I mean the background of the actual site versus the background of the whole web page. So I'm just going to turn this lighting effect off for a sec, because let me show you what it would look like if I go here and select white as my background color. I mean, that looks dreadful. You know, you've only got this border, and it's just too much. So I'm quite happy with a darker color, or even darker still. It would be cool.